Okay, we're at gotomath.com. We're working on some calculus. We're in the rules of differentiation, and I believe we are in this section right here now. This is a trig function, and in this section, you just need to memorize. You're going to have to memorize. When you look at this and it says, okay, find the derivative, bam, you need to know exactly what it is. All right. So let's just do this. Y is equal to sine x. Y prime is equal to cosine x. And as far as we have gone here in calculus, which isn't really a very far, that's just something you need to take for granted. That the sine of x is equal to the cosine of x. I was going to sketch out maybe this graph here of sine x, and sine x does something like this. Right, it comes up and then goes back down, and anyway. Right, so sine x does something like this. Sine is 0 at 0 radians, and sine is 0 at pi. And of course there's a maximum up here, we'll talk about that later, and that's at pi halves, which is going to happen to be 1 in this particular case. Now remember, the derivative gives us the slope of the tangent line at a given point. So if I were to plug a half into here, we should get a slope. Okay, this would be the tangent line here. This slope should be 0. So if I took y prime and I said, okay, cosine of a half, what is cosine of a half? Okay, and of course we get 0. Alright, we get 0. And the tangent line, the slope of the tangent line is going to be positive from 0 to pi halves, as you can see here, and then it becomes negative from pi halves to pi. Plug in the number and find the slope of the tangent line, plug it into the derivative. This kind of helps us at least know, hey, listen, I think we got the right. We memorized it, and I believe that's it. But we can kind of go through and kind of check some certain things, right, to make sure. You could also graph this, graph the derivative, right? Have you ever done that? Graph the derivative, where cosine would be coming down to here. I should be using a different color, and then coming back up again, and then going back down to here. So it's always good to kind of graph the function and then graph its derivative. So as you can see, the derivative is positive, but then when it gets to here, the derivative is negative. Therefore, the graph must be dropping below the x-axis, and then the derivative is negative, 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 and then right here, so it's going to cross right here. I don't know, I'm just kind of sketching this out. Right, doing something like that right there, and then coming back up again. Looks like it's been shifted, but anyway, well, obviously, but it's important to graph the function and then graph its derivative and take a look at its behaviors. All right, so in this section here, we're just going to ask you that when you see sine x and you're asked to take the derivative, we need to memorize that it is cosine x. Okay.